everybody, welcome to my small garden. Today I want to talk about two challenges in the growing saffron indoors. All of us, we know two challenges. One of them is the high labor force in the time of the harvesting, and after the harvesting saffron, the stigma should be separated from the style and the petal, and this is without doubt one of the biggest challenges, and this reason causes that don't continue the saffron farming. Another challenge in the propagation, the saffron bulb. Today I want to talk about the propagation saffron bulb because all of you that you are located in the northern hemisphere and you are located in the propagation saffron bulb. You are middle in the propagation saffron bulb. The best wishes for you. I have all of your bulb. Saffron bulb will be heavy. Now I want to invite you to my small garden. I want to compare the growing saffron indoors with the watermelon. This is they are at the beginning of the fruiting. 7 days ago, they started to the growing. 7 days we didn't have any watermelon. Now they are 7 days. The age is the 7 days. Very sensitive now. And this is yesterday created this beautiful watermelon. They are in the fruiting. Why I gave you this example? In the saffron outdoors, in the cultivation outdoors, God, our designer, God, the best saffron vertical farmer, God, the best farmer, God provide for us a lot of things. I explain you one of the challenges in the propagation saffron bulb. And for the propagation saffron bulb, the most important factor in the propagation is the water. How much water I should give. This guarantee. In the outside, we don't have any limitation for giving the water because in the outside we have the rainy weather. We have a lot of rainy. We have sometimes too much rainy. But if they have any small problem, all the bulbs will face problem. But in the outdoors, in the growing saffron, in the watermelon or the growing saffron outdoors, even too much water, in the extra requirements of the saffron, we give the water, we don't have problem. Because outside, sun directly, as we have the directly sunrise, we have the too much rainy. When we provide a lot of rain come, for example, 7 days rain come, but the sun compensate and we have the best evaporation. Of course, in the country like the Thailand that is located to the equator, we cannot cultivate because we have the too much rain. In some country like the Germany, Thailand, when the summer, a lot of rain. I'm talking about the normal country like the Australia, India, all the majority of countries except the country, the summer we have the coherent rain, like the Germany, Thailand, Kenya. Okay, this is very clear. We cannot even grow saffron, but all the majority of the country, if we give a lot of water, we don't face problem. But this is story in the saffron vertical farm because all of you want to propagate saffron bulbs inside the room, completely covered. We don't have any sunrise directly. We cannot give the sunlight directly because all bulbs will face problem. Exactly. We want to bring the wild creature and convert it to the domestic to the house. Will be very sensitive. These bulbs, when they bring them to the vertical farm, this will be very sensitive. Therefore, we should provide the best condition. We can compare, but you cannot everything that happens you bring in the outside. You should bring everything that's the positive and remove the negative thing and provide. At the beginning I told you the best farmer is the God provide for us. But if you want to convert the saffron bulb to the room, we cannot provide a lot of water. Numerous factors determine the amount of the propagation saffron bulb. Water, cultivation depth, ventilation, room temperature, substrate temperature, all of them provide the best thing. But honestly, I want to talk about the most important parts. Our God in the saffron propagation is water. if you provide the water, another issue will be problem. But we cannot consider water separate and there are other things. They are all connected to the link together, connect together. All of the factors help that the saffron bulb receive the water. Okay, you should provide all conditions from the cultivation depth, ventilation. You should put them in the optimum so that the plants absorb the maximum of the water. You know, as I told you, in the outside, for the 1 tons, the ratio of the propagation of the saffron bulb is the 1.2. And it means every year, for example, if in the first year, I have 1,000 saffron bulbs, 1 ton saffron bulbs, 1,000 kilogram saffron bulbs, in the first year, I receive 1 kilogram dry saffron from 1 ton. In the next year, I should have 1,200 kilogram saffron bulb. The ratio is 1.2. Again, in the third year. But if we take care, we can reach to this amount with a heavy bulb. Very important. The ratio of the propagation is good as much as the weight of each bulb will be heavy, near the 20 gram. But if the ratio be, for example, 3, your 1 tons converted to the 3 tons, but all the bulbs, and the bulb you have the 3 tons, but all small, doesn't have any value for you. Even the ratio, you have the 10, the ratio 1 ton in the next year be 10 tons, but small doesn't have any value. You should even. The ratio is the 1.2. If in the first year you have 1,000 saffron bulbs, 1,000 kilogram saffron bulbs, and the second year even the ratio be 1, but all of the saffron bulbs heavy or the near heavy, this is acceptable. Okay? Only thing that determine the weight of the saffron bulb, the weight of the fruit in the mushroom, watermelon, cucumber, water determines. Water causes that receive the volume. All agricultural products, also the saffron bulbs. In the all plants, they are the majority of the plant outside, they don't face problem, even you give the extra water. But in the saffron bulb, very sensitive to the extra water. Therefore, you should give a standard water. For the 1 ton saffron bulbs, for the propagation, because only in the 3 months of the winter we should give water. Only this is only our time. In the spring, in the autumn, they don't need to the water. In the summer, you shouldn't give any water. Only 3 months of water. This is your art. In the 3 months of the winter, you give all the water that needed. 1 ton saffron bulb in the outside, in the normal, usually needs to the 300,000 liter water. Even if in the outside you can give, if you give 400,000 liter water, 500,000 liter water, they don't provide, they don't face with the problem. Because we have windy weather, we have the ventilation is very high with the wind, with the sun. Okay, if you give water, even the water, they receive the water, and extra water automatically evaporate because due to outside, a lot of surface for evaporation. But if you convert it in the covered room, for example, this is our vertical saffron farm. If you convert it to this small in the 6th floor, and they very sensitive. If you want to give this amount of the water, for example, for 1 ton saffron bulb, if you want to give water, 300,000 liter water, that is a very normal of the water, all the saffron bulb face with the problems. All this is converted to the fungal diseases, black spot, and you should say goodbye with your bulb. Therefore, you should calculate in the water I have the which insulation I use the panel. Are you do we use the air handling unit? If you want to give the water, you should provide the best air handling unit. You know, for example, you shouldn't use, unfortunately I have seen that the majority of you use the split. For example, this uses in my house. This is the split my house. You shouldn't, in the offices, split air conditioner, you shouldn't use air conditioner or the split. Or the simple heater that used in the hotels, that in the offices. You should use air handling unit. This air handling unit designed for vertical farm, for the mushroom, for the saffron, for other things. That is the covered room. That is the closed environment. Therefore, you should provide air handling unit, not air conditioner. Some of you mistakenly say you think air conditioner same air handling unit. Air handling unit converter. You can, because in the split, in the simple heater or cooling system, you cannot connect to the plastic dot. But in the air handling unit, has a unit. It's circular. Also, you can connect the plastic dot, and from the beginning to the end of your room, and you can distribute equally air to all the floors, because you have numerous floors. All the floors, because you have the saffron bulb, because all of them receive the equal air velocity. Okay, therefore, first step, you should provide the best ventilation in your room. The best ventilation is equal the best air handling unit. Sometimes at the beginning, for example, in the flowering time, you don't need to the high velocity. You don't need to the high ventilation. But in the 3 months of the winter, after the finishing the flowering, when you bring the substrate and you give a lot of water in the 3 months. When you give the water, you need to a lot of ventilation. You need to give numerous irrigation water. You should give water, not this amount, 300,000 liter water in the 3 months of the winter or the per year for the one propagation. You should calculate that this is the formula related to the substrate and use. Okay, therefore, the most important things in the propagation saffron bulbs is water. You shouldn't neglect. Okay, this is wrong. I'm scared of the giving the water. Okay, first with the fungal. Okay, I don't give a lot of water because this is the wrong. Because if you don't give water, okay, your leaves will be healthy. You don't face with the disease, but the saffron bulb will be small. Because water causes you increase the volume. Okay, water. If you heavy bulb, they have high bulbs. They have water. This is not the food, not the soil. Inside the saffron bulb, this is a water causes you have the heavy bulb. Okay, therefore this is water. The first is the most important thing is the water. All of the factors helps to absorb the water. Okay, which factors help to water? Ventilation. When I have the good ventilation inside my room, if I give extra water, they evaporate. Another thing, the substrate that uses, unfortunately, the majority of use, I have said in some of the videos, use cocoa-peat, perlite. You think this saffron is a hydroponic. Saffron is not hydroponic. This is completely different to the strawberry cucumber. Saffron bulb needs a lot of water, as much as it's very sensitive to the water. Cucumber, the root cucumber can 24 hours with water. But saffron bulb is even the 3 hours, 4 hours face directly to the water, face with problem, and you should say goodbye with the saffron bulb. You should give water and again evaporate. This is the secret of this success. Do you understand me? You know, all of the crops, I promise you, or even the 24 hours, all hydroponic system like this, you put the directly 24 hours, you face. But in the saffron bulbs, even the more than 5 hours face with the water, like the cocoa peat, perlite, or completely to the water, you should say goodbye. You should give water, and the water should evaporate and absorb. Finish. 2 ways. When you give the water, for example, if I give 10 liter water, 5 liters should be absorbed, 6 liters should be absorbed, and the 4 or 5 liters should evaporate. Which evaporate? In the complete cover, you have air conditioner. How you can evaporate? This air conditioner, is able to evaporate? Not. But air handling unit, for example, has a high, for example, 5,000 CFM for the 100 meters, 6,000 CFM, has a high ventilation for a while. You can evaporate easily, and you can. Therefore, after that, the substrate that you use. The substrate that you use is very important. Cocoa peat, perlite, they don't have any natural elements, but substrate you use for a while, you should know which substrate I use. This substrate should including natural elements. You should gather the substrate, and first step, you should give your sample to the laboratory. In the laboratory, you receive a paper. In the paper, show you, for example, iron is low, phosphorus is high, potassium is the low, and copper is the low. And according to yourself, you should make your own fertilizer with the best formula. But all of you purchase a fertilizer NPK 2020, 25 to. Okay, you cannot use the fertilizer that is the market. You should build the best formula for the propagation. For example, this substrate I use in the saffron bulb, phosphorus is high, potassium high. And again, I give a fertilizer that has a phosphorus and potassium. Go over on the standards. Then we have the elements over than the normal. Some of you think it's good things, but it's not good things. Even the other elements, they are not able to absorb the plant. All elements should be standards. You should gather your substrate, 10 kind of the substrate. You should mix, then give to the analysis. When you receive analysis, according to the analysis, you should provide each element I don't need, an element that you need, provide a mix. For example, if receive the substrate, my substrate in the analysis showed me, okay, my phosphorus is very good, my potassium is very good, because you should know for the saffron what is the critical point of this. For example, for the phosphorus in the propagation is a 25. For the potassium is a 400 ppm. The critical point is the 300. Okay, in the laboratory, my potassium is a 300. My phosphorus is a 25 ppm. Therefore, when it's good, it doesn't need you buy. You buy a fertilizer that has only nitrogen, iron, manganese, and you should eliminate this fertilizer, and instead of the NPK, you should buy only nitrogen. Remove the PK, remove the phosphorus and the potassium, because the substrate has a normal and 300 ppm has. Therefore, you should provide the best according your requirement. When I'm not thirsty, I'm not receive the water. When I'm hungry, I'm able with the best food. If I don't have appetite, I eat the food, I face with the problem. Other factors I can affect, and I cannot continue to this life. Therefore, the substrate that you use should be equally with the saffron requirement. After that, ventilation with the air handling unit. Always you should have 24 hours ventilation, and you should have an inverter for your air handling unit. Some of the essay you need to slow down the velocity. Sometimes you need to decrease the speed of the air. Sometimes you need to increase the speed of the air inside your room. For example, some of them you give the water. This is the days of the irrigation. You need to increase the velocity with your air handling unit. Okay, your frequency in the inverter you determine under 30%, and you have the full air, and we have ventilation. Even with the extra water, all of the extra water evaporate, and the best water absorb to the saffron bulb. After that, you should know the cultivation depth on your substrate. How you can do cultivation depth? Plays very important role. Cultivation depth on your shelves. Drainage that you install, the floor of your floors in the shelves. Which kind of the drainage? You should have all the floor. You should have the drainage. When you give the water should exit via drainage, and via ventilation should evaporate. And third is the absorbing via bulbs. This means due to this reason, if in the 3 months of the winter, all of your leaves is green, this means water is absorbing water in the base. But after the 1 month, after the 2 months, the saffron leaves started to the yellowing, it means you gave a lot of water to the saffron bulb after the 1 month. After the 2 months, converted to the yellowing, it means you gave a lot of the nitrogen to the plant. If after the 2 weeks started to the yellowing, it means temperature room is high. Therefore, 3 factors that the cause of the yellowing, the leaves is the high temperature, high nitrogen, low cultivation depth, and also too much of water. This is your R. 3 or 4 months, 3 months of the winter and the first month of the spring, all the leaves should be green, completely green. Green, it means heavy bulbs. The new saffron bulbs via 3 ways receive the volume. Mother bulbs that only 1 month is available. After the 1 month, her task will be finished, and only remain 2 ways: roots and the leaves. Roots also after 1 month, after 2 months stop their activity, but leaves plays the most important part. 3 months or 4 months provide for you photosynthesis that receive the sun, receive the nutrients. Okay, due to this reason. And the fertilizer, you should give the fertilizer via 2 ways. Beginning of the propagation, only you should give the via roots, Because beginning of the propagation, roots have a strong. After 1 month, it started to the wicking, and this is not so strong. But after the 1 month, leaves started to the growing, and start you should the foliage and the started to the spray nutrients only to the leaves. Okay, you should divide two give. First give to the root, and the second spray to the leaf. These are causes the success in the saffron propagation. I hope you understand. My mean of what I said, the most important part in the saffron, two challenges: high labor force, high propagation, and the success in this propagation saffron pulp. Because if yourself you can propagate your own saffron pulp, it doesn't need every year buy the saffron bulbs, engage with the saffron supplier, especially in Australia, in the Europe, in some countries that is very rare. You should pay a lot of money for the bulb and a lot of money for the shipping. In the line, maybe you pay money, and during shipping is a very long, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and all the saffron bulb faced with the fungal diseases, black spot. Therefore, it is very good news if yourself you have the knowledge and you're able to propagate your own saffron bulbs year by year, year to year, your saffron bulb increase. The ratio is increased. I told you 1.2 in the first year, in the third year 1.5, 4 1.2, and some of the successful farmers not only sell their own saffron, also they sell their saffron bulb because they know the knowledge of the saffron propagation. They provide a lot of heavy saffron bulbs because their room doesn't have any capacity for the extra bulbs. They two-way or sell their saffron bulb or extend their saffron room, and they propagate. This is the secret of if you can propagate, it doesn't need you buy a lot of money, stress with the saffron supplier. Yourself, you focus on yourself, and you can successful on the saffron part. If you need my book, text me on WhatsApp 00989358253945. Thank you.